You desperately need a haircut. Hi guys. I was just giving him the gears that he needs a haircut in the worst way. He was victim of a tragic beard trimming accident yesterday, so today he is barefaced for the first time in how long?
4 years?
4 years.
For 4 years, no beard.
Turned around, I almost didn't recognize him. Knocked about 10 years off of him. He looks like he's 17. Ugh, brings back frightening memories.
I don't know how to take that.
Oh, well, you were such a joy as a teenager.
Yes, I bet I was.
Oh, well. Oh, guys, thanks so much for joining us today. I was feeling kind of festive this week. It was a crazy week, just so much to do, and I was kind of in a panic over getting something ready for this week, and I had an idea, and my idea didn't work, and I ended up doing 3 cookies, and with the help of Karen, who kind of talked me off the ledge from overthinking things, and
Karen Jones?
Karen Jones, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then what started out as 3 cookies on a plate ended up being 3 plates with 3 different cookies and teacups and gingerbread and all that good stuff. So I ended up kind of overdoing it a little bit, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and came up with this Christmas cookies piece. This is fun. I wanted something completely different with a different color palette, something a little out of the ordinary. So I went with the bright pinks, and where the pink came from, I have no idea. But definitely Bahama blue, because that is my favorite decor color. Maybe asphaltum, but definitely the Bahama blue. And I went with something festive. I mean, we're coming up, today is the first day of spring. Or last day of winter. I'm not sure which it is.
I think it's the last day of winter.
Last day of winter, first day of spring. Either way.
Woo.
So Christmas seemed a little bit of a stretch, but you can paint Christmas anytime. Ugh. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to do Christmas cookies. If you don't have the pattern inside, there are 4 line drawings. 3 different cookies, the teacup with the cookie in it. So I've done the same design 3 different ways. And then there's the frame of the piece, and then the 3 tags that go with it. So I had a lot of fun with this. And it just was such a versatile design that I got to play around with a little bit. So that's what we're going to do today, is paint Christmas cookies. So grab yourself a cup of tea or whatever beverage you drink at this hour of the day.
Scotch.
I don't think so.
Hey,
and
you never know.
That's very true.
Glass of wine.
It's even too early for wine. We'll be nappy by
Ever
supper
play the time zone game?
The time zone game, yeah.
Every time
it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Every time it turns 5 o'clock, you have a drink.
Ooh, it'd be a short game. It'd be a very short game. So, anything else to add?
No.
No? Okay, if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know when we're going live and when we post new videos. And I think that's about it. I think I'm ready to get started.
Okay. How much coffee did you have today?
A couple. I'm like this with no
You know,
caffeine.
if you drink 6 back-to-back decaf coffees, there's enough caffeine in there to be a coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is it. This is Christmas cookies. And then in that design, there are also the little tags, which I think are kind of fun. I just took the cookie that was in each of the cups and created a little tag from it. I got to tell you about this gingerbread cookie, though. When I wrote up the instructions, I used the lamp black for the eyeballs. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I had painted the pink cookie, and then I painted the blue cookie, and then I must have, sort of lost my train of thought. And then I painted the eyes and the buttons with white and shaded them, and now I have a zombie cookie. Because he's creepy. I think he's creepy. Isn't he creepy?
Yeah,
he's kind of creepy. Looks like a zombie gingerbread. I should add him to the Halloween designs.
Looks like something from like Edgar Allan Poe.
I know. right? He's a little on the creepy
Nevermore.
Nevermore. He's a little on the creepy side. So if you're wondering how come my cookie has got white eyeballs, that's why, because I just sort of lost track of things and ended up painting white eyeballs. So yeah, I think he is very creepy. So, and then the
Should
pink.
cover him in red icing and give him a crooked smile.
Oh, you know, he is rather creepy. If I put a black dot in the middle of that, it would look even creepier. Cause yeah, he's a little different. And then the pink cookie with the, you know, the little pearl candies that people decorate them with. I thought this was fun. And then the snowflake cookie. I rather like these. You see these videos on television or not on television, on Facebook and on TikTok of people decorating cookies. And they're hypnotic. I can sit and watch those for hours on end. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of try to replicate that look. And so that's what we did with those tags. And if you're wondering, yes, those designs are actually in the pattern as well, because I got carried away.
Carol suggests sprinkle some sugar on them.
Oh, you know what? That, what is that glitter that...
No, not glitter. Not glitter.
Yeah, I knew that would put him off. So I've prepped mine. I have, this surface is from Sheila Landry at tollpaintingdesigns.com.
Link in the description.
The link is in the description. I really, really like these surfaces, these beveled trays. They're very easy. They ship really nicely. And Sheila always does such a beautiful job of finishing them up. Like they're ready to paint the minute you get them. So this just looks so cute on this piece. And I think I did the gingerbread cookie on another one, the Merry Christmas piece, which is this one. And I really like the surface. I like the size of it. It looks really cute at Christmas time when you put them out too. I really like this surface. So that is the reason I chose this one, because of its versatility. I happen to think it's a really great surface. And it looks really pretty. So that is the surface. The tags are also from Sheila. She has these really great tags too on there. And the link and the item number is in the pattern if you're looking for them. So we have giveaways today too. We always have a giveaway. I'm very fortunate. Dynasty is always generous, and so it's our other two today. We've got this for one lucky winner, which is this Happy Holidays. Had to go with something festive today. This is the Happy Holidays stamp from Stampenda. It's called Leafy Holidays. So one of you is going to win that. And then we have a set of Dynasty Black Gold. These are the wave flats. They've got that nice serrated edge, so that's fantastic for them. So one is going to win that. And then Southern Ridge Trading, this is their little red pickup, their Christmas ornament kit. And it has all of the pieces in it that's ready to paint. These are so stinking cute. If you're looking for a really great pattern or a design from this, Deb Antonick has one on her website at paintingwithdeb.com. And if you want to have a look at some of the other great things that they have on Southern Ridge Trading, they are at chipboard.ca. She's got tons of really cool stuff in there. And I'm a big fan of this particular piece. I think it is so stinking cute. And it sits up on its own, or you can hang it on the tree. It'd be a great way to give a gift card, because the tree slips into the back of the truck, and then there's a spot there, like a slot, that you could put a gift card. So that would make a great gift idea for somebody. So those are the three giveaways for today. And Renee is going to hit the random generator throughout today and select winners. Aren't you?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Yes, he is. And what else? Oh, I got new stamps in this week too. This is, I think, is going to be my new favorite. I love this. This one is called Cling Butterfly Postage, and it's got the butterflies in there, so you can anticipate this one is going to get a lot of use by me. And I'm thinking actually for a project I want to get done that this might be the perfect thing for it. So, yeah. So these are up on the website. And of course this cling, we got a whole pile of them in the other day. This is such a great stamp set because it's got 5 stamps in it, but it also has a stencil in it back there with this gorgeous brocade pattern. And we just got restocked on those. I love this stamp set. Okay, so I got all of the
new goodies out of the
all
way.
the new goodies out of the way, so it's a good time for us to get to painting. I've got mine all based, so I'll walk you through it. Pardon me. The cookie on this one, I decided to do the snowflake for today. The cookie on this one is based with Whispering Turquoise on the icing. And then the cookie portion is light mocha, I believe. If you don't have light mocha, buttermilk will work just fine for this. And then the edges of the cookie, this portion here, is done with raw sienna. So we're going to start with this cookie because I think that this part's a lot of fun. So
Okay, I gotta zoom in on the cookie.
he's going to zoom in on the cookie. So the color I'm going to use for this cookie is Prussian blue. It's a very dark, very intense color, so we're going to thin it out quite a bit. And I'm going to, into my Jo Sonia's Fast Drying Glaze. Love this stuff.
Wait, who sent that to you?
Carol Manhart did. What
If
a
you're
sweetie.
watching, we love you.
Yes, we do.
It makes a world of difference that she has her fast drying glaze again.
I got the sweetest note from Carol. She sent me a package with a bottle of fast drying glaze in it, and a little note telling me that she had 4 and I had none, and she felt that I needed to have a bottle. And so she packed up it and sent it to me all the way from California. So, Carol, thank you so much, sweetie. I really do appreciate it.
You got a few gifts.
I did. It's
This
been one of
week.
those weeks. It was so sweet. I got the completely anonymous gift. Those cute little.
Yeah, no one's claimed.
No one has claimed responsibility for that.
Whoever sent the little bee earrings,
They're so stinking cute. I absolutely love them.
even if it is just a random.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
So we want to get that height, that sort of curved element to that icing. So we're going to put a shadow.
You're sold out of the grunge stamp. Yup.
No, we just got some in. I don't know if the site's been updated.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. We haven't updated it yet.
Yeah.
We are
So,
sold out currently.
yeah,
We haven't updated.
we'll update it this afternoon. And so I'm putting a float.
And of course you flipped it.
I did. Did I drop out of this?
Yeah.
Sorry. I flipped it and then promptly dropped it out of the thing. So you're going to put a float of Prussian blue on the back side of this cookie, and you're going to leave a very narrow space of that Whispering Turquoise in there. And that same Prussian blue all along the base of the cookie where it goes in behind that leaf. And we're going to deepen this a little as we go, so.
Yes, there are a bunch of products that are on back order.
Yeah, and we're expecting those on Monday. Phone stands and stencils, and we have
Oh.
a few things that we can't seem to keep up. And then things are delayed, which is just slowing things down a little. So we appreciate your patience.
Do you like the glaze better than the flow medium?
I do, mainly because I'm so accustomed to working with it. The flow medium did the job, don't get me wrong.
And of course, we can't see what she's doing.
Keep dropping. Sorry, gang. So, as you can see, I'm leaving a very tiny space. Very tiny.
Linda Johnson at work, and I will rewatch as soon as we can. Love this pattern.
And then I promptly put that shadow in the wrong place. Thankfully, I can get rid of it.
Go away. Prussian is my favorite dark blue.
If you don't have the Prussian, there's no reason why you couldn't use a little Payne's Gray for this too. Payne's Gray would work just fine. I'm trying to stir this or rotate this without messing things up too much. Okay. All right, see, I turned it and then I couldn't remember where the shadow went. Hello. There we go. So
yes.
I have the shadows on this side, on the right side, and then the lower part of the left side. And then I'm going to deepen it along the edge of that teacup. And underneath that leaf, we want a nice dark shadow. Like so.
Why does that name sound familiar?
Which one?
Mary Montoya.
Mary usually watches us.
But last name, though.
Montoya? Wasn't there a boxer or a cage fighter by that name?
Probably.
So now I have that shadow in place. I'm going to deepen it just a scooch because it's not quite as dark as I'd like it. Always keeping in mind that that little narrow space, and I do mean narrow, it is a very small gap.
I was kind of hoping you were going to do the gingerbread man.
I have him traced out.
Oh, do you?
I do, yes. And I'm going to show them how to do most of these cookies. So now that we have that shadow in place, we need to pump that up a little bit, and we're going to do that with the highlights. Now, putting highlights in just balances everything, so I'm going to put a highlight on this cookie. And I'm using titanium white. You can use warm white, but because it's a blue, I like that. I want to keep that cool. So I'm going to put that float, and again, I'm coming just shy of the edge.
Yes, Lee Hilton. That's why I remember it. That's why that name sounded familiar.
What's that?
Montoya?
Yeah.
Think Princess Bride.
Okay.
I remember it now.
I've only seen The Princess Bride once.
Really?
And it was a long time ago.
Yeah. It was definitely The Princess Bride, and that's where I remember it from.
See, I heard Montoya and I thought,
Cage fighter?
Cage fighter at Caesar's Palace. So I'm putting a highlight. Now where that shadow starts is where my highlight kind of ends. And that helps give you that sort of rounded over appearance. Just like so.
For sure, Princess Bride. Definitely The Princess Bride.
So there is our rounded over cookie. And now it's lifted that up, but we're going to accentuate that by using a little shadow on the cookie itself, on that light mocha. And I'm going to do that with a weak float of raw sienna. So we need to tuck in.
Not asphaltum.
We want to make this cookie look like it's been baked golden brown. So I'm using a little float of raw sienna to give us that golden, yummy cookie look.
Oh.
At the edges in particular. And don't forget to tuck a little in.
When was the last time you saw that chick flick?
Chick flick.
Princess Bride is a comedy. It is a romantic comedy, yes. Same with Men in Tights.
Yes. Men in Tights. Oh my God.
I am a big fan of crud. Now I can't remember the director's name.
Your sister would know.
Yep. She would. Did Blazing Saddles and Men in Tights.
My brain is just not going there today.
What is his name? Usually also did Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Mel Brooks.
Mel
Thank you.
Brooks.
Mel Brooks. That's it.
So there we have a little bit of that raw sienna in there to make this cookie look a little golden brown. Nice and soft. And I'm just tucking a little bit in places just to give it that golden look.
Rob Reiner.
Oh, I love Rob Reiner. So now we have to shade this cookie. And I'm going to do that with, you guessed it, a little asphaltum.
Ah, there you go. We already had somebody ask, no asphaltum? Are you
Oh,
feeling
yes.
okay?
So in those deep little areas on the edge of the cookie, I'm going to tuck a little shadow in, nice and tight. And this is going to help give our cookie more shape. And it's also going to give us that depth back there where we are tucked in behind those holly leaves and into the teacup.
Mel Brooks movies are beyond comedy. What's beyond comedy?
So there we go. Now the fun part about this cookie is that frosted snowflake drawn onto it. I'm going to float again with the Prussian blue. I'm going to go down the edge. Oh my goodness, not enough liquid. I'm going to come down the edge of that cookie like so. And under, all on the right side. So neatness doesn't really count for this part. So I'm putting a float along that line. And then I'm doing the same thing under the little branches coming off of it.
Oh yeah, Rob Reiner did Princess Bride.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I have Mel Brooks in my head?
I don't know.
Maybe because I saw a Blazing Saddles clip the other day.
Oh, that could be it. So now I have that shadow down that. Now you have a couple of options with this. I think it would be really fun to use the white dimensional paint. Comes in a squeeze bottle with that point to give you a really raised looking snowflake. I'm going to use a rigger and some titanium white, and I'm going to paint those straight lines like so, right down the middle.
Can't see. Thank you.
Like that. And they can be as thick or as thin as you like. It's entirely up to you.
Inconsistency is key.
Yeah, because there's no two snowflakes the same. And then I'm going to just stroke in those little branches like so.
Would the cookie tray be food safe?
If you use a beeswax finish on it, yes. There is no such thing as a food safe varnish. So ideally put a couple of coats of your favorite varnish on it and then give it 2 or 3 coats, good coats of beeswax. And then you'll be able to put your cookies on it.
That is shot.
It's going to be one of those days.
We are very zoomed in, so
Okay.
I can also adjust that. Zoom out a little bit, so give you a little bit more room to play. There you go.
Now I'm going to let that dry because I'm going to come back in and we're going to add a little more shading and a little more highlighting to that snowflake. But because the paint's fairly thick, I'm going to.
The white liquid in the jar. Oh yeah, that's Joe Sonia's Fast Drying Glaze.
Yeah.
They asked, what is the white liquid in the jar? Glaze? Question mark?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, it's Joe Sonia's Fast Drying Glaze. So I'm just going to quickly dry this.
I want you to live in your craft room. I do windows. She has one window.
I have one window in here.
And the cat spends most of its time up there.
So for a final highlight on this cookie, especially on that blue icing in the background, I like to put in just a fine line of white, just to give it that shiny look. I just find that that little flash of white just helps make it look a little more slick.
Didn't know about the beeswax. Thanks. Oh.
There's a couple of good places to get it. I know you can get some at Home Depot. It's a paste beeswax. But my favorite is through General Finishes. They have an excellent beeswax.
LOL, nice hair dryer. It's not a hair dryer.
Nope. This is the Ranger's Heat It craft tool. I love it because it's very quiet.
Super quiet.
I don't have to yell over it. And it is a very handy little rig. I like it.
Remind me what's in the jar.
This little jar here is full of Joe Sonia's Fast Drying Glaze. Where did I put it?
Where's your big bottle?
My big bottle is right here.
Thank you, Carol Manhart.
Yep. Thank you. So I usually, instead of having the whole bottle out, I just keep a little jar that I can put a lid on. And that keeps the rest in my cart over here.
Do you have a blank pattern of the lettering?
You mean just the lettering up here without the stripes?
That was troublemaker Linda Sofranco.
I mean, it'd be easy enough to do. You can just, because you're going to paint it in,
Yeah.
I'll show you how to do it so that you're not driving yourself crazy instead of trying to trace all those lines on.
She'll show you a neat trick to get the candy cane look without having to trace it.
I'm kind of sick and twisted, but I'm not that sick and twisted. So speaking of candy cane, that's the next one we're going to tackle, is that stick of candy cane in the background. And I'm going to do that while this is setting. I'm going to take a little bit of that. Okay, I put the lid on my glaze. No, I made a mess. Go figure. I'm going to take a little of that Prussian blue, and I'm going to shade my candy cane with Prussian blue up the right side underneath that leaf and all the way up to the top. And I stop short of that round part at the top. Now that candy cane is based first with warm white, and then all of the stripes are painted with watermelon slice. Now I know that watermelon slice is not exactly a traditional holiday color, and I ordinarily use country red for most of my Christmas designs, but I am out of country red, and I don't know what possessed me, but I grabbed a bottle of watermelon slice because it looked pretty in the bottle, and I really like it. I like how it looks. So I'm going to dry that float. And by the way, that watermelon slice actually covers quite well. And then I'm going to put another float of that Prussian blue up just to deepen it so that I get a nice deep.
Trying to find. Somebody asked how many watts the Heat It Craft tool.
I have no idea.
I'm trying to find it.
Oh, hang on. It should be on here. It's 120 volts, 80 hertz, 460 watts.
There you go.
It's written right on the handle.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't look at the handle.
It provides, like, it gets really hot. The nice part is even though the machine itself gets hot, this part stays very relatively cool. You'll feel the heat, but it's not dangerously hot. So it is a pretty good little rig.
Why are you using the glaze medium as opposed to water?
For a couple of reasons. Why am I using glaze medium instead of water? The glaze essentially has the same same materials as paint, except it's thinner. If I use water to float, you've probably seen it when you float, you get this halo that sort of drifts out on the back end of your float. And what that is the pigment separating from the body of the paint. And the only way to avoid that is to use a medium that does not dilute the paint but thins it, and that's what this does. So I can make my paint very transparent and still have all of the adhesive qualities of the paint without separating the pigment. So I like to use a glaze. It comes from that, having done faux finishing and whatnot for so many years, you discover that your paint can get very, very thin and you'll lose control of it if it loses any of that adhesion. So I've got my shadow in place. So now I want to put a highlight on here. And I'm going to do that again with a little bit of titanium white.
What can one use besides watermelon slice?
Any deep red will work just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have watermelon slice, just grab your favorite red. It will work. So I'm going to put a highlight down the opposite side, but I'm going to come in about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I don't want to put that highlight directly on the edge of it because I'm trying to imply that this thing is curved. I'm going to dry that and then do it again. So coming all the way down, and then I'm going to...
That cookie looks absolutely real and jumps off the surface. Incredible dimension.
That's what we're going for. So I want to deepen my shadows and set this candy cane back a little bit. I'm going to do that with a float of asphaltum. I'm going to come in behind that holly leaf and in behind the berries.
Do you use the glazing medium with media paints?
Yes. I use them with any acrylic. You'll find that you get nice flow, that the paint comes off of the brush really, really nicely, that it gives you a bit more control over the paint. It also, when you're doing line work, and this is, to me, this is where glazing this glaze medium really shows you what its value is doing line work.
Right, yawn. Sorry.
So I'm thinning my paint with a little bit of that glaze. Liners are notorious, absolutely notorious for not having enough paint in the brush because there's not a lot of it to work with. So I used a little bit of the fast drying glaze when I thinned my paint.
She can go forever.
And you can go so much further. I'm not even sure that shows up that well on there.
It shows up.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I'll switch to a darker color and show them again. So I've
I'll
got
show.
a bit of asphaltum on this brush, and I'm going to thin it out using that fast dry glaze, and watch.
Let me get some stutters in the camera.
So you can go so far with it because it helps the paint move off of the brush. The other thing that it does is, because I'm not degrading the adhesion of the paint, I'm only thinning it, it will adhere to the surface much better. So when I go to varnish, I'm not going to end up brushing off all of my little fine details. We've all had that happen when we've been doing all this tiny little detail work, and all of a sudden when we go to varnish, it breaks off or we erase it completely. And that's why. So that's one of the reasons that I like to use that little bit of glaze in my brush.
I'm guessing this is in reference to the candy cane that you were doing.
Yep.
With the highlight. So if we were to take the highlight to the edge, it would look flat.
Yes. By having that highlight come in just a little, doesn't have to come in far, just a little bit, it helps imply that there's a curve in that. Makes life so much easier. So I'm going to have to clean
So
this
if
off.
it was a flat object, would you float all the way to the edge? Yes.
Yes, I would if it was a flat object, but it's not flat, so I'm going to take a little rubbing alcohol to take this off.
And poof!
And poof, there it was, gone.
And now her desk smells like vodka.
He says that like it's a bad thing.
I thought you were going to say, and situation no change.
So I'm going to highlight that peppermint stick by taking, again, taking that highlight to the edge of that float and come in just a scooch from the edge and go down.
Is there a difference between glazing medium and blending medium?
Yes, a blending medium is more of an extender.
I get that.
It has a much longer open time. The glazing medium keeps the paint open, keeps it fluid, but will dry much faster than a blending medium.
Thank you for explaining the benefits of glaze. I've never used it, so now shopping for it.
This one is my favorite. Decawart does not make one like this. I wish they did. Now
And
what?
smelling like vodka is different. How? Well then.
Who said that?
That was Debbie Matthews.
Her and I have shared the odd
Drink.
martini.
Oh, okay. That explains the... what kind of covering is on your table?
This thing is, it's actually a baking mat.
It's a silicone baking
It's a
mat.
silicone baking mat, but it is absolutely fabulous. Took me a little while to get used to it because when they're brand new, they feel kind of sticky. But this thing cleans up really nicely. I just spritz it down with a little hand sanitizer and wipe it off. It is a great little rig, and it keeps my tabletop nice and clean. The other benefit is that things don't slide around too much on it, so it's pretty handy.
If we could just get her to keep it centered.
Yeah.
How's Miss Dot feeling this weekend?
Well, we had good news on that front.
Yeah, good.
Miss Dot is going to see a specialist on Monday.
Monday morning, bright and early.
Monday morning, bright and early. That was our biggest concern, was getting her in. There's quite a wait list. The original appointment was for what, May 3rd?
May 3rd, yeah.
And they had a few cancellations, so they got her in
Monday.
on Monday. So we're taking her in then. And hopefully they'll have more answers for us. And well, the sooner we get answers, the better.
The sooner we can
Get her back to normal.
get her going Mach 5 and with her hair on fire.
Yeah.
What else we got? I do not waste my vodka. Okay.
Well,
Fair
we
enough.
had a. I gotta show you this. We have a local distillery here that makes vodka, and with this pandemic, they sort of switched over to making hand sanitizer.
And it smells like
And
vodka.
it does. It smells like vodka. So don't ever let anybody tell you that vodka doesn't have a scent, because it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, every time I open the bottle, it's like, kind of makes you wish you had a martini. But I will say it is great for cleaning this thing up. It's not something you want to have on your hands driving. But I can imagine being pulled over. Don't worry, officer, it's just my hand sanitizer. But this stuff is great for cleaning off this mat. And I got, what was it? I got this one on Amazon, didn't I?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Amazon.
It was like $20. It was great. It's perfect. Sandy turned me on to these.
What's the difference between flow medium and glazing medium?
Flow medium is literally a lubricant for your paint. It helps accelerate and let the paint flow easily. It's also a bit of an extender. It opens it up, keeps it wet for a period of time so that it flows off the brush nicer.
Wonder what proof the hand sanitizer is?
I can tell you that. It says 70%. 70% alcohol per volume. Whew. Ethyl alcohol.
Oh, yeah. No drinky.
No drinky. It is plant-based, though. I think they make it out of potatoes.
Vodka's made from potatoes.
You know. Potatoes. You can make so many good things out of potatoes. Like the rest of the vegetables aren't even putting in an effort.
Broccoli vodka. Broccolini vodka.
Broccolini. Rapini vodka.
Silicone mats are wonderful. I used one for years.
I know. I feel like I've sort of been sitting in a farmyard somewhere for the last, decade or so, and somebody pointed this thing out. I went, well, duh, what a great idea.
Picture. Somebody just said the word picture. Okay. As a newbie, do you always prep your blank? Picture. Prep your picture.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
For a surface like this one, MDF in particular, a lot of painters notice when they put paint on it that it gets sort of like a pebbly texture to it, depending on the quality of the MDF. Some are super smooth. I find the super smooth ones are actually harder to paint on because they don't really want to take paint all that well. But just the average MDF, medium density fiberboard, it'll take on sort of a slightly pebbly texture. So I usually hit it with a coat of sealer, decoupage, or all-purpose sealer, or something like that to give it a light sanding before I paint it. Or just mix your sealer in with your base color, like I did in this case. So.
Oh. Really? I don't really paint on MDF, so.
Yeah.
You get pilling?
You can pebbling, not really pilling, just pebbling. It takes on
okay.
yeah. But okay, so we've got our peppermint stick done. So we're going to tackle. I'm thinking we'll tackle this mistletoe back here.
You jammed a lot of elements into this design.
Yeah, I did.
You got mistletoe, you got holly, you got a cookie, peppermint stick, teacup.
Where is my plantation pine? Oh, right, I am.
Yeah, you're looking at the Americanas.
I know. I am out of plantation pine. My boss at Decor, I told him I was running out of paint. He said that wasn't physically possible, but I am running out of the colors that I use the most often, so.
Will you be doing the lilac piece in the future?
Yes.
When? When do you want to do that one?
We could do that next week.
You want to do that next
We
weekend?
can do that
there
next
you go.
week. Oh, you know what? Spring. Why not? We can do it.
Yeah, we'll do lilacs next weekend.
Yeah.
Next Saturday.
So I'm putting a shadow down the center vein of these holly leaves. I'm going to do the holly and the mistletoe at the same time because it uses the same color palette. So it is just a nice little float of plantation pine. I'm using the fluid acrylics, the sap green, because I don't have any plantation pine.
Well, I'm not skipping the ad because that's revenue for us.
The zombie cookie is not there. Oh.
The zombie cookie. I mean, really, he is creepy.
He is creepy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to repaint him.
It's because his eyes look sunken in.
Well, they're supposed to look raised, but he looks kind of
He does. They
He's
look
just
like they're sunken
creepy.
in, though.
like zombie cookie.
Zombie cookie. You should
Sure.
like put teeth marks in the top part of his arm or something.
Or have him missing an arm.
Yeah, missing an arm, lost it in nom.
Lost it in nom. Oh my gosh. That was good.
Nom.
So I'm
yeah.
just putting a float of that plantation pine, or in this case, I'm using the sap green. And I'm going to shade into all these little areas, the lower edge. Now, there's a little trick I use for shading these leaves. They're designed so that they look like they've got a curve in them. We want to accentuate that curve. So when I'm putting this float in here, I take it up onto the edge a little bit of the leaf. And then I'll deepen the shadow going down the center. So what that does is it implies, again, that there's a curve in that leaf.
Zombie cookie needs a smile.
He's even creepier because he doesn't have a face, like lips or anything. Zombie cookie. I'm not sure if I should. That's what I need to do. I need to do a Halloween piece with a zombie cookie.
Oh god.
That'd be
Put
fun.
black dots for pupils might help. No.
No, he gets creepier.
He gets creepier because now he doesn't have a smile and his eyes are wide. Or doesn't have a mouth.
We've been contemplating said cookie for quite some time, you can imagine.
It's not a Christmas cookie, more like a Halloween cookie.
Yeah, I'm thinking now I'm going to have to make him into a Halloween cookie.
Yeah. Oh, Sheila Landry's giving out tips and tricks on painting MDF.
Oh, Sheila's amazing.
I do have a sheet with these instructions. If anyone wants one, they
Ooh,
can
yes.
message or email me and I'll send them one. Right on,
There
Sheila.
you go. Okay. So, we've got the holly leaves shaded, so now I'm going to get into
No, I
a
don't
couple
want
of the glaze. Ugh, I need to clean my brush.
A lot of people are going, I can see a zombie cookie coming. Make him a mummy for Halloween.
Hey,
Hey, that's a great idea.
There you go. We'd have to
Zombie
change the color of the
gingerbread.
eyes, though.
The things that happen when you accidentally create.
Is it the
Zombie
first day of
cookie.
spring?
I think so. It's either the first day of spring or the last day of winter. So I'm using that same green to put a shadow down the center vein of that mistletoe. Like so. And I'm following the curve of those leaves. I'm taking that green. There we go.
About a question from way back. Mod Podge now has a supposed food-safe, dishwasher-safe product.
Really?
Just came out.
Decawort has one as well. I can't get past the smell of it myself.
No.
I'm a big proponent of using the beeswax. It just works. I know if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Look forward to the zombie cookie for Halloween. Okay. Now we need a sugar skull cookie
Oh yeah.
with that mummy
Oh
cookie.
yeah.
Oh, you got her. You got the creative juices flowing. What is the first day
Well,
of
I'm
spring?
teaching the.
It is the first day of spring.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the last day of winter.
I'm teaching oleander tea for SDP.
That's the one
Yeah.
in the back.
I love this piece. I wasn't sure how people were going to feel about it, but the class is actually feeling quite well. But this is oleander tea. This is but the only teacup I've done for Halloween.
Really?
Yeah. So now I'm thinking I should do one with my, zombie cookie and
Yes.
a sugar skull. Yeah,
I
I
like
think
it.
that would be fun.
I like it.
Zombie cookies.
Or the mummy cookie.
Or the mummy cookies. Yeah, I thought would be, oh my gosh. I'm going to be painting teacups and cookies for the next little while. I can see it.
First day of spring, missed the fire.
So I've got a little bit of olive green, which is going to be the highlight color on my holly.
Missed the vein on the far right holly leaf.
This one?
Yeah.
It's there. It's just very faint.
Yeah, camera's not picking it up.
The camera's not picking it up, but let me deepen it. There.
No, still can't see it on camera.
No.
Love beeswax. Sugar skull cookie would be great. Sugar skull cookie.
Ooh.
Sugar cookie skull.
Sugar cookies.
I made voodoo doll ornaments. A vampire cookie.
Oh, I could have way too much fun with that.
I remember doing traditional style Christmas cookies, but with a Halloween theme.
That would be fun.
It's almost sacrilege.
Hey, I have a voodoo bear.
Yeah. Sheila Landry actually just. No, I remember Tracy has a voodoo doll teddy bear.
Yes.
She caught a lot of.
Oh, did
flack-
I ever catch a
flack
lot
for
of
that.
flack for that one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Go for it with a skeleton spoon.
Ooh. I have one of those.
Yeah. A little absinthe spoon.
I have an absinthe spoon shaped like a skull. I love it. So I'm highlighting the edges of these leaves, the holly leaves, with a very weak float that I cannot seem to get right. You know, we all have those days where we can't float to save our souls. I'm afraid I'm having one of them.
What's the base color of the holly leaves?
Antique green. If you can't get it, I know that everybody is really struggling to get certain colors, and antique green is one of them.
Wonder what a zombie snowman would look like. A mess.
So I'm just putting a little float, and again, with this leaf, I'm not going all the way to the edge. I'm stopping short, just leaving a little narrow space at the edge of that leaf,
Right on.
like so.
I also ordered the voodoo teddy bear yesterday.
I caught a tremendous, like some people really put out with me about that. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of this leaf. I'm going to put a little highlight coming just shy of the edge.
Uh-oh. Now people are wanting to see the voodoo teddy bear. I love the voodoo teddy bear, says Karen.
So there is my highlight on this one. And again, I'm coming just shy of the edge. Oops. There we go. And this is just olive green.
Regarding the beeswax finish,
Does it wash okay?
You usually just use a damp cloth to wipe it down, and then you will have to recoat, but depending on how much use the piece gets. But generally, just a damp cloth and then wipe it down with a dry one immediately after, and then recoat, every 5th or 6th use, or once or twice a year, depending on how often you use it. But the more often, or I shouldn't say more often, but the more coats it gets on it, the better it looks. Over time, they develop such a lovely sheen from the beeswax.
What is the highlight for the leaves?
I'm using olive green.
Yeah.
You can use margarita, you can use, any nice bright green will do the trick. I try to find one that isn't too opaque, because I prefer to do things in layers. Oops. A little too much color there. The more layers, the more control you have.
People didn't want teddy bears to be injured. They're teddy bears.
I think people always, they have there's a lot of sentimentality when it comes to teddy bears, and I have it too, because I have a huge collection of them.
Yep.
I'm quite sentimental about my teddy bears, but I just got a kick out of the idea and then put it together. Apparently I offended a lot of people's sensibilities, so
Voodoo teddy bear.
a voodoo teddy bear.
I think it's hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was a cool idea. I would have gotten that tattooed somewhere. It's an interesting thought. Just this cute little teddy bear with pins shoved into it.
Yeah, I think it was the eyeballs that kind of threw people.
Oh yeah, you had one of the eyeballs popped out,
Yeah, it was just like,
hanging on a thread or something like that one.
no, it was just one eye was there, one wasn't. And it just had the stitching left, and it was, I think it
Gotcha.
kind of, but whatever.
It suited it.
It did suit it. I still think he's really cute.
Actually, a friend of mine, he's got a tattoo of a teddy bear eating its own innards.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
pretty,
that's kind of creepy.
it's pretty gruesome, but at the same time, it's how do you put it? The image of the snake eating its own tail.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
same
it's
concept.
a play on that.
Yeah, it's a play on that, except it was a cute little teddy bear eating its own entrails.
Okay.
Pretty brutal, but at the same time, kind of cool.
So I've got the highlight in place on my holly leaves. Now I'm going to pop one into this one. Now I base coated the mistletoe with olive green. So obviously I'm not going to highlight it with that. I am going to take a little bit of warm white and I'm going to make a slightly more opaque and lighter value of that olive green. So I'm going to take a little olive green and a little bit of warm white, and I'm going to make myself a lighter value, and I'm going to highlight. Now, two things will happen when you do this. Is one, you're going to get a nice bright highlight down the opposite side of that shadow, but it will also diffuse that shadow a little bit. And it gives this sort of a frosted look.
I don't know how you do that. How you can have a darker color underneath, put a lighter color over top, and still have the darker color act as a shadow, creating depth when it's in behind.
It just diffuses it. I'm not putting opaque coverage over it. That's why.
Because in airbrushing, you do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
You want to put something that's in depth, you have to put it on top of your highlight.
Yeah. Well, I do go back in and deepen my shadows.
No. Weird.
So there is my highlight. And again, it's going to diffuse those shadows a little bit. But then when you put it down that center vein, look what happens. It gives you that nice bright highlight.
I don't know how she does it either, Renee. Yeah. It's turning into Ripley's. Believe it or not.
And I'm going to do the same thing up here with this one up top. Again, there's that brighter highlight.
If I don't like something, I move on and look at something else. Never been offended by somebody's artwork. What was it? Michelangelo Davis was scrutinized for a long time, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
For centuries.
Yep. It's a magnificent piece of work. When you see the original, it's just awe-inspiring.
Huge.
It is.
The fact that one man carved that.
Out of a single piece of marble.
Yeah. Definitely took years.
There's an expression about that I remember from school, that an artist actually said that he did not carve it out of the marble. It was always there. He just found it. He just chipped away the marble till he found it.
Wow.
Which I always thought was a rather romantic view
Art.
of sculpture, but
Yeah.
it was
Well, art in
it
general.
was very clever. I just chipped away till I found it.
That's a good one. I'm in Louisiana, where we have a voodoo queen named Mary Laveau. I'm late jumping on, just had to see this piece. It's beautiful. Really fascinating watching the shadows and highlights being painted in. Great colors. Yeah, if she can keep it in frame, it'd be great too.
So I've got my shadows in place. I'm not really happy with these leaves up here. I think it's because my highlights are.
Oh, that only took you an hour?
It only took me an hour to paint.
Oh,
what-
mind you, you had everything base coated and
Yeah. And next, we're going to paint berries.
pink berries.
These little holly berries.
God, that thing is creepy.
He is creepy.
I like how he was just sitting in the side of the frame, too.
Just there. Watching everything.
Just have him. Oh, can't see him on the.
He's trying to figure out a way to play with him. Ugh. So I want to finish out these leaves. And I'm going to do that with a float of asphaltum. I know, surprise, surprise. What are you doing?
See? Is that creepy?
Trying to creep people
He's
out.
watching.
Trying to creep people out. So I'm going to deepen the shadow on my holly leaves with a float of asphaltum. And this kind of helps diffuse the highlights a little bit in a few places. And it helps give it a little bit more depth while I try to stay in the shot.
Are his eyes flat paint or dimensional?
They're flat paint.
Maybe that's why he looks creepy. I think he'd be creepier if he had dimensional eyes. It's bug-eyed. And...
So I'm going to, that little float of asphaltum actually helps make these leaves a little more. You see how that curve stands out? And I'm going to do the same thing.
Oh, okay. Or his, oh yeah, I read that one. Your cookie looks good enough to eat. LD Matt, I am in Louisiana. Also, delight.
There's that littleish Faltum.
Renee, I bet you keep your mom laughing all the time. I try to.
He does a pretty good job of it. When I'm not threatening to strangle him.
It's usually because of bad jokes.
Usually. That's genetic. You get it from your father.
Yeah, well, that's what you get.
So I've got my leaves are all shaded. They're all highlighted. I may come in and put a little punch more in, but I will do that towards the end when I finish up all of these little itty bitty details. So we're going to move to these berries. So we've got the red berries here. And again, those are based with that watermelon slice. And I'm going to shade them using a little bit of that Prussian blue. Now, berries, going to get a float along the bottom. And again, I leave a tiny little space at the edge.
Don't murder the help.
No, we don't murder the help.
Oh, wow. Okay, that escalated quickly. We weren't talking about murder, you were. Karen Jones, that is something he knows how to do well. Never a dull moment in that house.
Karen would know.
Yeah, Karen's been part of my life for a long time.
Yes. So I've got a shadow at the base of these berries, and again, I'm leaving a very narrow little space at the bottom. So they're gonna kind of look kind of funky. I don't know if you
You're
can
welcome,
see
Holly.
that.
I'm officially creeped out. Thanks, Renee. the whole cookie.
Oh, the cookie.
The cookie.
Yeah, he's good at that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the same to those white berries. I'm going to use a little bit. Actually, I'm going to switch this.
Told you the cookie was creepy.
I'm going to switch the shadow on my berries to a little bit of Bahama Blue. I don't want these berries to be too creepy. And I think that's part of the problem.
The gingerbread reminds me of a photo I saw of an evil gingerbread man, and it said, "You eat my friends, I eat your soul."
Okay, that's dark.
Wow.
So I'm shading the bottom of these berries the same way I did the holly berries, and I'm putting a float of Bahama Blue, but I'm leaving a small space. There should be a tiny little area at the bottom of that berry that is just the warm white peeking through. Now this one that's tucked in behind the cookie, I'm going to go right along the edge of the cookie.
We were in Alexandria when England AFB was there. Oops, just gave up my age. Well, yeah, Alexandria doesn't exist anymore. Wow. Alexandria doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't.
Wow. It's like Somalia.
So there, I've put a little float of that Bahama Blue.
Not Somalia, Bosnia. Sorry.
Bosnia.
Bosnia.
Bosnia-Herzegovina. Bosnia exists, Czechoslovakia, or Yugoslavia doesn't.
Yugoslavia, that's it. Wow, I knew it was one of them. Southern is better if you ever get back there. I'm in GA now. Georgia.
So now that I've got that blue in, we're going to use asphaltum to shade these white berries. And I'm thinning it out quite a bit. I don't want this fully like full strength. I need it fairly transparent. So when I go over top of the blue, what?
Where's your snowflake stencil?
Oh, I haven't taken it out yet.
Oh, okay.
We haven't even gotten to the cup yet.
Oh.
So I'm going to go right over that shadow with a float of that thin dish Falta. Now, asphaltum has a high yellow content, so when you put it over a blue, it alters the color slightly to more of a shade of green. So I get sort of that vintagey tone to the berry. Because if you look at mistletoe berries, they're not pure white. They have sort of a greenish cast to them.
What is the name of the piece you're working on?
This one is called Christmas Cookies.
No, I think they mean the surface.
Oh, the wood surface. The link actually is on my Facebook page. This is a piece by Sheila Landry. If Sheila is still on, she'll be able to give you the item number for it. But it is in the pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did list the item number in the pattern.
Alexandria, Louisiana still exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody from Kandahar, Saskatchewan? That threw people for a loop.
Yeah. That threw a lot of people when I knew there was one.
I didn't know there was one until I went there.
Yeah.
Where are we going? We're going to Kandahar. I've been there before.
Didn't like it.
Been there before. People blow up and things get shot at, and I'm not a big fan of that. So, it's in Saskatchewan. What? Welcome to Kandahar, Saskatchewan. Okay, small town. Holy crap.
So next, we have to add highlights to these berries. So I'm going to start with those white ones that I just finished. Now I'm using titanium white to highlight these, and I'm doing the same thing I did with the shadow. I'm coming in just slightly of the edge. It is a subtle change, because remember, they're based with the warm white.
Get ready for lots of orders, Sheila.
So I've got my highlight on, and I'm going to use that same titanium white to highlight those berries. You can use warm white, you can use whatever you have on hand.
You are absolutely allowed to add the link there, Sheila.
And I'm going to highlight the tops of these berries. It's top left. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the shading color. I'm going to come just shy of the edge. And I'm going to bring the highlight around until it meets up with where the shading starts. Just like that.
I'll be doing lots of cutting tomorrow while listening to murder mysteries. Okay.
So there we have our highlight on our berries, and we have one last thing to do to those berries, and that is to add a light impact point. I'm doing that with a little bit of titanium white, and I'm putting it right on the edge of that highlighted float. Just like that. And so we'll end up with these nice, shiny, slick-looking berries. And I'm doing the same thing to the mistletoe berries. I'm adding just a dot of the titanium white to each berry, to the upper left side. Like so.
Keith says I'm planning to kill him.
He's plotting? Oh, is that what it is? Sheila likes to listen to books on tape or audiobooks.
Audiobooks.
Yeah. So
Murder mystery stuff.
So Keith was probably thinking that she's,
planning.
Which is entirely possible.
Studying on how to get away with it.
So now I get to use a new stencil. Yay!
I love that so many small companies are getting shadows and keeping us all supplied with our painting needs. Absolutely.
Yes, we need those goodies.
We need the goodies.
We need all the things.
All the things?
All the things.
All the things.
Okay.
I will be ordering when I get home next weekend. Audiobooks.
Okay, you need to hand me one.
What? I gave you one yesterday.
I can't find it. I don't know where
there was a pile of... Okay.
I know.
Give me a second.
Yeah. Take your time, by all means. I lost a stencil. Imagine that.
I found a postage stencil.
Yes.
Actually, no, that's probably somebody's order. It is.
So we got a new Snowflake stencil added in to the M square. And this is Snowflakes 2, the number 2. And there's some really pretty ones in this. And what I like about this particular stencil is that there's some teeny tiny ones, which suits my purpose for this. I'm going to use, I love this one. Might be a bit big. Yeah, it's a bit too big for that surface, but how about that? There we go. So I'm going to use this Snowflake stencil in the center of my, I don't want to smear white dots. So I really like this stencil. So I'm going to arrange my snowflake in the middle of this teacup. And I'm going to tape it in place. And I'm going to use a little bit of warm white. And I'm going to stencil this snowflake onto the center. And then I'm going to use a couple of the smaller ones for the rest of the cup. So very little paint on the brush, a very light touch. You shouldn't have to work hard to do this. And then circular fashion, change directions frequently. And so we should end up with a nice crisp, bright snowflake in the middle of our cup. And I'll dry that real fast. And then I'm going to repeat that, but I'm going to use, there's some really pretty, dainty little snowflakes in this one. So again, with the warm whites. And you can use as many as you like or as few as you like. That's entirely up to you. I am quite partial to the dainty in this case. And you can tuck them wherever you want. So a few little teeny tiny, I like to be able to sort of tuck things in wherever I choose. I know on one I only used a couple, but you know, in hindsight, I think I kind of want a couple of extra, just to make them look a little busier. There we go. So now I have snowflakes on my teacup. And I like the fact that it sort of, you know, it matches up with some of the subject matter we've got going on. Just like the berries kind of match up with the pearls in the pink one. Oops. Like this. I like that all these berries match up with the decor. So next we have to start shading and highlighting this teacup. And I'm going to do that with a little bit of Prussian blue. And I'll clean up in a few little spots too as I go. So I've got a little Prussian blue. I like this color a lot, especially on this Bahama blue. I just think it's so pretty. So we're going to shade the back side of that teacup, and we're going to go right over top of those snowflakes because they're in shadow too.
Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. There we go. And I'm going to run a shadow along the back side of that handle while I'm at it. And underneath. And I work in thin layers. I like to be able to have control. So the color is always heavily thinned so that I have control over it and not the other way around. So this one is a back-to-back float, meaning that I'm floating down both sides of that area. And then down that crease, ugh, horrible float. I whoopsied. So a little bit of water, take care of that.
Sheila Landry, I'm making a list of supplies I'm getting from you.
Now let's try this again because I completely messed it up. So I'm going to come down that line with a float and in behind these berries with that Prussian blue.
Yes, M254
Yes.
is available on the site. And
I really like this stencil. It's got, because they're so delicate and lacy looking. And then they have a variety of sizes of each of them. So I really like that I can do some fun things with those tiny little snowflakes. And I'm going to take that Prussian blue underneath these leaves here and underneath the berries on that cup. And I'm going to do the same thing underneath that mistletoe there.
my kind of snowflake, snow shoveling needed.
She is not wrong.
She is not wrong. There's 164 of you watching and only 95 likes.
Oh.
What's going on there? Wow, I yawned. Sorry.
I think you should get that random generator going and find us a winner for one of these giveaways.
Sure. Let's do that.
So I'm tucking a little of that plantation pine underneath those berries and then down into and behind that those leaves. Need to get some color down in there.
Excuse me. Hopefully nobody heard that. The microphone is right next to me. How do you clean your stencils without breaking them? Carefully.
Oh, actually, that's a great question. So I think we should tackle that while
We're waiting for paint to dry.
we're waiting for paint to dry. You can put them down on a wet ceramic tile or even on one of these things. And then little hand sanitizer and a piece of paper towel. Oh my God, you're such an ass.
hey, PG-13. PG-13.
I'm trying to get a piece of paper
I
towel
haven't-
off the rack and he's watching me struggle.
I haven't used an F-bomb yet.
I know,
We're
I'm
allowed,
very proud of you.
we are allowed one F-bomb.
Well, you dropped one a couple of weeks ago.
I know.
So a little hand sanitizer on that stencil, like so. It will wipe the paint right off. The trick is to have it on a very flat surface and to do it carefully. You're not scrubbing the kitchen floor, so just like that. Look at that. Stencil's just like new. Takes the paint right off. If you don't have rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer handy, Jack's Studio soap will take it off. A little bit of Windex will work. But avoid using any hot water on a Mylar stencil because it will stretch the Mylar and damage your stencil. So that's how easy that is.
Is it like waiting for grass to grow? Here comes the vodka again.
Yep, broke out the vodka again to clean that.
Oh no, she's going to clean a stencil.
It does happen. Does happen.
The zombie engineer is now watching you. He's still in the shot. I swear he moves on his own.
Yep. Sort of like that elf on the shelf thing.
Whoa. Okay. Zoom decided to go haywire there.
So I'm just deepening these shadows in here with that plantation, or not plantation pine. Oh my gosh. Prussian blue.
have him in the corner there, peeking out.
Uh-huh. So you want these shadows down in here to be quite dark. So I'm going to do that with a couple of floats of the Prussian blue just to deepen them nicely. And in here and up the back side of that handle.
Don't get yourself banned from YouTube. We will not survive. Believe it or not, you can't get banned for using an F-bomb.
Some of the crap I've seen on YouTube, I don't know that you can be banned at all.
Yeah, you can, actually.
But no danger there.
No.
We do run a clean shop, so to speak.
Ish.
Yeah. I've been known to drop one from time to time.
What if the paint has been on the stencil for weeks?
Again, the hand sanitizer, give it a spritz. The hand sanitizer will take it off. The alcohol will break down the acrylic.
This elf on the shelf freaks me out. I'm liking the gingerbread.
So I've got my shadows in using that Prussian blue, but now I want to deepen them a little bit. And guess what I'm doing that with? Asphaltum.
I was going to say Bahama Blue.
Nope. I'm going to take a little of that asphaltum and deepen them.
What if we put a noose around his neck?
Okay, now you're just getting really weird. So I'm coming in and deepening the shadows down here with a float of asphaltum. And I think I've got a little too much moisture in my brush, but
Really hanging out.
you've given him far too much time to play.
He is creepy.
He is creepy. I like it. And I'm doing the same thing in here. I'm just tightening up a few little shadows and cleaning things up a little bit. I do like my asphaltum.
Make it look like he's sticking out of the corner waving. Hello.
And down this side.
Where did you get the liquid hand sanitizer? Around here you can only find the gel.
I actually go to a pharmacy to get mine. Rubbing alcohol will do the same thing.
Yep.
And if you can't get your hands on the hand sanitizer, use the rubbing alcohol.
Renee, step away from the cookie. Oh, yeah, no. If there's cookies, they will be et.
Step away from the cookie.
You should have a contest to name the creepy ginger guy. Well, I'm the ginger, so.
Oh, speaking of contests, I had a thought.
You had a thought.
I had a thought. This probably worries some people, but I painted my Fugly brush. Speaking of my Fugly
we talked
brush,
about that.
where is my Fugly brush? Oh, there it is. So,
Hard to miss with all the glitter on it.
hush now. So, my Fugly brush was looking like this. It's a very fugly brush. And I know that Veronica was grating her teeth every time she sees this on there. So I painted my Fugly brush. I painted it black, and then I put gold fingerprints all over it, and then I put 2 coats of Galaxy varnish over top of that, put some glitter on it. So there's my Fugly brush. So I was thinking we should have a contest to have everybody paint their Fugly brush and then post a picture of it on my Facebook page. And then we would choose the best looking Fugly brush, and then they'll get a great prize. That's what I was thinking. So if you guys are on board, I think that would be so much fun. Just paint your Fugly brush. We'll have a great little prize pack full of all kinds of goodies, some stencils and some stamps and some brushes and whatnot. And I would love to see what you do with your Fugly brush, because I had fun doing mine, and it looks much better than it did. But yeah, this is my Fugly brush. Painted my Fugly brush. So now that I've got all of the shading in place on my thing, we need to add some highlights to this. So I'm going to switch over to a smaller angle because I'm going to
So,
highlight.
grab a prize. I have a name for you.
Okay, grab a prize.
What's the prize?
What's the prize? from Southern Ridge Trading.
Southern Ridge Trading, the pickup truck
Yep.
goes to Lee Hilton.
Lee Hilton, you won the Southern Ridge, the little red pickup with the Christmas tree that goes in the back. Go to the website. On the front page, you'll see a little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner. If you click on it, you can send us a message with your shipping information, and this will go out in the mail on Monday. So now I'm going to start adding some highlights. I'm going to do that with a little bit of warm white. I'm using a very small angled shader for this part because the highlight is on these little curves in the handle. And I'm just putting a little highlight. Again, I'm coming in just slightly from the edge. And it's not a really pretty little float. It's just a little bit of light on the inside curve. And across the top of that handle there. And a little bit here.
Yay! Look at all the congrats. Yay.
That's because we have great people that watch every week. And I'm going to put a highlight. We have to highlight that saucer.
Leah, Lee.
And so
Ow.
I'm putting a thin highlight right
Lee.
there. That open edge of the saucer. And again at the point. I want a nice bright one on the point right here.
It's not me.
And then we're going to put a highlight here. And again, I come in from the edge with, this is just a float of the warm white. And I'm going to stop short of that leaf of mistletoe there. I want that float to come out a little. Like so. And I'm going to do the same thing on this curve here. Just come in slightly from the edge where that little dip is. I'm going to come in just a little. Needs to be just a scooch brighter. There we go. And I'm going to do that again here. Always coming in just a little bit from the edge. This just sort of implies that there's a curve to the surface.
I'm experimenting with stamp letters today while watching you. Man, it's not as easy as I thought it would be.
It never is.
Never.
And I'm going to repeat that by coming in a little bit further, and I'm using a little bit of titanium white. I'm just coming in from the edge of that first float. Just like that. So there is our highlight. Now I do have to put a highlight on this, but I'm going to do that with a dry brush. If I can find my dry brush, my Doom Stippler. There it is. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of warm white for this. I just want to soften this a little bit. I don't want this to have a really bright highlight, but it does need to be softened a little. And you can do the same thing to the front of this cup, just to soften it.
Oh, there's the bees.
Oh, you found my earrings?
Yeah.
Those are so
went-
stinking cute. There we go. Oh yeah. So if you weren't on my Facebook page this week, these arrived in the mail to me. They're absolutely adorable, these little queen bees, and I have absolutely no idea who sent them. The box came with no return address, well, no return name, just an address. But I don't think that it actually came from their address. I think it came from wherever they ordered them from. But they're just adorable. Little silver bees with the crown, and They're adorable. So whoever it was, please know that I so appreciate them. I just think they're lovely, and it was such a sweet thing to do. So we have shading, we have highlighting done on our teacup. We're going to do the edge of this cup. Now what I did was I took a little bit of metallic. I used a metallic gold. My extreme sheen is empty. So I'm using a little bit of the fluid acrylic, but any type of gold will do just fine. And I like my liner brush. I did discover though that this metallic in the fluid acrylic is actually very, very nice. So I just painted in that gold border with a liner brush and that gold metallic. And it's quite a nice metallic, this one, the one in the fluid acrylic.
Well, that's very suspicious there, Linda.
What was that?
You will never know.
Probably not.
Very suspicious. I think it could have been Linda who sent those to you.
But whoever sent them, it was very touching and very sweet and very appreciated.
Very nice gesture, spreading kindness. Absolutely.
So a few little, tiny little extra highlights. I like to put little punches of light in here and there because I think it makes everything pretty. And I'm going to do the same thing on this highlight, put in a little stroke of titanium white.
A little rack your way. Yeah, a little random act of kindness.
So there's that bright punch there. So we've got that in, so now it's time to start adding a whole bunch of those little fidgety details.
Fidgety?
Fidgety. I like all of the fidgety details.
I think everybody likes the gingerbread man hanging upside down.
So we have all these little leaves around the outside edge. I put a line drawing in, I always do, but the for the most part, to be perfectly honest, I want to show you how I do my borders. I don't trace them on. I just draw alternating leaves all the way around, and then I paint them in. Now these leaves get shaded at the bottom with a little bit of plantation pine. Comme ça. It's just a little float at the base. Nothing neat, nothing fancy. It's just always at the base. And again, that having that shadow that way, it kind of implies that there's a curve in the leaf. So and I have
Yeah, giving him pupils will just make him look creepy.
Yep, giving him pupils would make him look creepier. I don't know what I was thinking. Obviously, I wasn't. Did you put pupils on him? Seriously?
Just little graphite. I wanted to see what he'd look like.
Creepier.
Yeah, he was creepier. Hey.
So there's that little shadow at the base of the leaf. Because we're going to start doing all of these the little stuff, all of the...
What is the name of the gold paint?
The one that I used for this, because I'm out of the 24 karat, this is the gold metallic that's in the media line. I was rather impressed. It's very opaque. But these are so hard to get. So any gold paint will work just fine. It doesn't matter if it's any specific brand. My usual preference is the 24 karat from the Extreme Sheen.
Yep, Deb's here.
Hi, Deb. My partner in crime has arrived.
We're having fun with the evil gingerbread cookie. He is creepy looking.
He is creepy looking.
Deb, thoughts? Is he not creepy?
I'm always giving her the gears because she will draw faces and she doesn't put eyeballs on them until the very end. And all you get is these blank faces. They're creepy. So I give her the gears about her creepy face. Says, and then I do that.
Thank you for sharing techniques to avoid unnecessary and tedious tracing.
So when I show you how I connect all of these, you'll get it. So I'm almost done with the shading on these leaves. There we go. And now I'm going to put, what did she say?
She said, it's creepy.
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm going to take a little of that olive green for the highlight on the tips of these leaves. And it's just a tiny little float. In fact, the paint is very thinned out. Just to lighten the tip a little bit. It's not a lot of color, if any. I think I missed the paint altogether on that one.
Can you show us point detail, dry brush highlight on some of the berries?
Yes, they're not dry brush, they're floated.
Oh, they are floated.
Yeah. You can dry brush them if you're more comfortable with it, but I can show you the placement. That's not a big deal. So I'm just putting a weak float at the tips of these leaves just to lighten them a little bit. I find that just that antique green's a little dark, but that's okay. We'll just a little bit at the tips of these leaves.
Oh.
What?
Apparently, it looks like his head is on upside down.
Oh.
Oh, it's just a gingerbread head. No. It's his hairline.
That's his hair. It's icing hair.
His head is on upside down.
Yeah, that would be even creepier.
We're just gonna keep him, just his eyes poking out at the edge of frame. Just boom. Nice and creepy like.
So now I've thinned out a little bit of olive green. And this is how I do this. I go around my leaves and I start at the bottom with a nice fine liner. And I just kind of give these a loose outline. I don't worry about it being accurate. It doesn't mean it has to go perfectly at the edge. It doesn't. So I'm going to put a fine line around the outside of my leaves. Again, I don't worry about it being absolutely perfect.
What site is the DecoArt sale on? DecoArt's having a sale?
Yes, DecoArt's got an inventory sale.
Oh,
They're
nice.
clearing out things that haven't that they had in the warehouse
Making
prior to
room.
all of this to make room for new inventory. So they're moving things out. So they have a huge sale on. So again, I'm just putting that fine little line around my leaves, like so. Now I'm going to start connecting my leaves. So you notice I've got a little line like this. I'm going to curve it like so. I'm just putting stems in. And you notice they're not really connected to anything. So it just sort of implies that there's a vine there. So when I come back in, I'm going to start adding some other vines to this. So I'm just going to go in and around like so. Neatness doesn't really count for this.
It looks like the gingerbread cookie has horns. Oh.
So I'm just taking that little vine and I'm sort of meandering through like that. And eventually they connect.
So I have another name. Pick a prize.
Pick a prize. He's got another name. Yay. So for that brush set, who's our winner?
It would be Murney928.
Murney?
928.
Murney928.
Yeah.
Okay, Murney928. If you go to the front page of my website And down in the lower right corner, there's a little speech bubble. Just click on it and you'll be able to send us a message with your shipping information and hopefully your real name so that we can send you your set of black gold wave brushes. So I like going back in and sort of connecting some of these a little bit. After a while, you get so many little vines and tendrils, it doesn't really matter whether they interconnect or not. And then I start adding the odd little curly Q, like so. It just gives the vines a nice loose feel, and it's kind of lacy looking. Still have one more giveaway.
Yeah.
Now I want to show you something really fun about this.
Congrats on whoever won the brushes. That would be Murney 928.
So you can see that this is not a really elaborate method of putting in those vines and tendrils. So now I'm going to show you something else. Remember, there's berries.
Berries.
Yeah, there's berries that go on the border. Comme ça. See? Berries.
Oh yeah, you got little dip dots.
Well, they're not dip dots.
They're not
They
dip-
can't, you can use dip dots, but I kind of like them being a little fatter. So I use one of these. So I'm going to make sure this is dry. Oh, cheater. Bite me. Cheater. So I'm
Can't
going to
make
dry this real
circles.
quick. I am a big proponent of using a circle maker because I think it gives you nice, clean, perfect circles.
Yep.
So you need a good sharp point pencil, and then you get to choose what size berry you want. So I usually fall into about the 1/4 size or smaller. So we're going to go with 7/32, which is what's listed on here, and I'm going to trace a berry on. And I alternate back and forth on either side of the vine. You can overlap things. It's not going to hurt it. Oops, I went to a smaller size. Hello. There we go. So just
that's-
alternate them back and forth and tuck them in wherever you want. Like Dot's up and about. I can hear her up there.
She's slid and fallen a few times already.
So I'm just going around and adding these little circles wherever I like, kind of alternate them back and forth so that they, you know, kind of fit into the design so they don't look too heavily structured. Going over top of the vines too, that works.
Yep. I think she just laid down.
Yep.
Or fell down.
So there we have it. I've got little berries drawn all over my piece. And so we need to base coat those berries. I'm going to do that with a 0. And the color I'm using is watermelon slice, just like I used for the candy cane and the holly berries. It's a
How
great
about
color.
stenciling the circles?
You
do
could
that.
stencil them too. I like to paint them.
Deb, you can never have too many circle and shape makers.
No, you cannot. I have, I don't know how many of them, but they're handy.
Yeah, you got a few.
Yeah, I've got quite a few. So I'm just using a little bit. I'm using, this is a 10-aught rigger, believe it or not. And I'm just base coating these berries with watermelon slice.
I came back and the painting was upside down. I thought it was my phone. Kept turning it and it didn't change, and then I realized it was just a blonde moment.
That sounds like something I would do.
Yeah. Why won't it? What's going on?
I was FaceTiming with Sandy the other day, And
Didn't realize you had the phone upside down.
I was looking for my phone.
Oh,
I had it, like really? I'm FaceTiming with Sandy on my phone and looking for my phone.
bravo.
Oh, I know.
It's like
Lights
glasses
are
on top of your head.
Hello. Yeah,
Where's my glasses?
some days.
Yeah, that's
Been one of those weeks. So the other thing is that when you're painting berries, you get nice round berries because you started out with a nice round circle. So if you're ever wondering how I get nice round berries, this is how. I use the circle maker so that they're consistent and nice and round. It's almost impossible to paint something round when it doesn't start out that way. And if you do, it's usually by accident.
Oop, okay. I did not mean to do that. My bad.
So,
Put the wrong camera in the wrong spot.
ah. So from here, we're just literally cleaning up some last little details. I'm going to paint in these berries. And while those are drying, we're going to finish up all the little details in here and then paint our lettering.
We haven't had a puppy picture.
Uh-oh.
Do I have a puppy picture?
Always have a puppy picture.
We'll do this one.
Uh-huh.
Asset not available. Ah,
No puppies available today.
I guess what? No, asset not available. Asset not available. Why are?
So that watermelon slice is actually quite opaque. I was rather surprised, and it does make really pretty berries. So we got one left right there.
No, I guess it's gonna be that one.
Oh,
We got the floppy-eared.
floppy-eared puppy.
We got the floppy-eared puppy. There we go.
So these berries will probably take one more coat.
Goofy-looking dot.
So I'm going to, while those are drying up really well, we're going to switch over and start doing all of the little details in our piece here, because we do have quite a few. So again, I'm going to thin out that olive green with a little bit of Sonia fast dry glaze, because I want to keep that moving really nicely. And I like to put a nice outline on my holly leaves. I just love how they pop. And it also gives me a chance to add that little whirligig at the end of the leaves.
Whirligig?
Yeah,
Technical term?
technical term.
Okay. Whirligig. Can't wait to paint this piece. I will start it the minute my order from Sheila has been delivered.
So there we go. This will finish up our leaves nicely. It also gives them, that extra punch of highlight. Gives a chance to clean up rough edges.
Dot is a sweetheart. Dot is a sweetheart. Yes, she is. Though she is big, black, and mean looking sometimes.
She can be, but it's when she has that goofy smile. She's just, she loses her intimidation
It's when
factor.
her butt hasn't wiggled in a while.
Yeah.
But when she gets to meet somebody, her whole butt starts.
Her whole body.
Her whole body starts to wiggle.
She loves the FedEx guy.
It's
hilarious.
The FedEx guy gave her treats.
Well, he's got 3 chocolate labs at home.
Oh, okay.
So, and Dot thinks he's the best thing since cookies.
Well, it's because he has cookies.
He's always got cookies, yeah. And the next door neighbor, Paul.
And the next door neighbor, Paul.
And Steve.
And Steve. And Tony.
Yeah. No.
People I've never met before.
Yeah. She
My dog
introdu-
knows.
Yeah. She introduces everybody. So that little outline on those holly leaves, it cleans up a whole bunch of, that multitude of sins. But giving that little whirligig, that little curl at the end of the leaf, it just softens them out a little bit. And I like that, how that looks, that little curl at the end. So there we are.
Oh, God.
So we only have what?
Sean.
Sean sends some unique things your way.
Yes, he does.
So the only thing we have left, we got to finish out these little berries, and these ones are quite simple.
What brush were you using just now?
This is a 10-aught extra long detail liner. It's a Micron, Dynasty Micron. It's a very fine liner brush. It's great for little details. It also holds a lot of paint for a liner brush, which is one of the reasons I like it. So to shade those tiny little berries, we're going to shade them the same way we did those holly berries. We're going to use a little bit of that Prussian blue, and it is just a little bit, and you need to thin that paint out quite a bit. There we go. So these berries get shaded at the bottom with a little bit of that Prussian blue. Just like that. And I try to keep them all shaded on the same side. We have a tendency to rotate things around. When for decorative painters, we turn things, and sometimes we forget which direction they go, but try to keep them all going in the same place. So we got that Prussian blue at the bottom of those berries. And then I'm going to clean up my brush, and I'm going to go into a little bit of that warm white. And again, very little, brush it out well so that it's quite thin. And we're going to put the highlight at the top of the berry. Just a weak float.
What kind of palette are you using? I think you're just using palette paper.
It's just palette paper. I usually like the grape matters, but I haven't been able to get any for the last few months. A lot of places carry it, but I haven't been able to get it, and I'm out of the shot again. Sorry. No. So I'm just putting a little highlight at the top of each berry, opposite that blue shadow. And then to finish these, all we're going to do is put a little dot of warm white.
Okay. What brand of glazing medium are you using for floating? That's Joe Sonia's Fast Drying Glaze.
It is Joe Sonia's Fast Drying Glaze.
Oh no! Bear with us. We lost a camera. Yeah, we lost that camera. I wonder if... Oh, wow. It's because the camera's dead.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. Boop. There you go.
Bear with us, guys.
You're on the front-facing camera.
You have to just hang on for a sec. One of our cameras bottomed out. We're just waiting for it to charge up enough that we can get it running again. It's never ending.
It's always one thing or another.
That's true. But it shouldn't take too long. But in the meantime, we only have one thing we really have to do, and that's put the final details on these berries, which is just done with a tiny little dot of white. And then we want to go to that lettering. And I really want to talk to you about the lettering. And I think it's important, although you've seen me letter on a regular basis. Whew, mercy, that got hot.
Yeah.
The lettering in this, because we're doing it two-toned, I know everybody was looking at the lettering and going, oh dear God, now I got to trace all that and then paint each individual. No, I have a simple way of doing it. And hopefully, oh boy, this thing's
Toasty.
it's taken its time.
It's probably dead.
It's probably dead. Yeah. So, doing the lettering.
The ginger did it?
The ginger did it. That's entirely possible.
It's the zombie gingerbread.
It's the zombie gingerbread. Oh my gosh.
He's creepy.
So the lettering for this is brushed in the way I normally do. I don't try to paint each of those individual spaces, one white, one red, one white. It's just, you'll drive yourself crazy trying to do it. So I paint my lettering the same way I always do, using my favorite, a number 2 or a number 0 rigger to put that line work in. And then once it's done, I'll use either the 10-aught rigger or a liner brush to paint in the red stripes. And it's very forgiving doing it that way. You're not going to drive yourself nuts trying to paint this lettering. So if we can get that camera up and running, I'll show you how. And if not, well then I'll post a separate video on it. No, it's just not going to let us.
No.
Okay. So, what are we going to do? We still have one more prize to
Actually,
do? He's looking at his camera. So we still have.
give me a second. I might be able to fix this a little bit faster than. Boom. And this one.
Yep. Look at that. I think we've got the camera up. We've got a camera up.
Boom.
Yay!
We're back.
We're back. Oh, good. So now I'm going to carry on with the highlights on these berries, and it's just a tiny little dot on the white highlight. And I do mean tiny. We don't want it too big. Of the titanium white or warm white, whichever you have on hand. At the top of the berry, top left. Just to give it that little sparkle, that slick look. And there we go. So we have our berries done. So it's just the lettering left. I want to dry this real quick. And then we'll talk about the icing on the star-shaped cookie. And we'll talk about the gingerbread. There we go. So we have the lettering up here. Now, I like to walk everybody through this. I know you've probably seen me paint this a million times, but I still think it's a good idea to walk through it. Not everybody has seen how this is done. So a number 2 or a 0 rigger for this. For those of you who have never painted this, a rigger looks like a liner brush, but it's actually built more like a flat. So it comes to a chisel edge like a flat brush. So it doesn't round over like a liner does. You get a flat chisel edge. And once they're loaded with paint, they're ideal for doing lettering. So essentially, this is how it's done. You're going to flatten the brush on your surface, and then on the chisel edge of the brush, press down till the brush opens up and fills the space, and then come back up on the chisel edge. And that will give you that nice curved look in the letters. And I have to do it a couple of times on this because it wasn't quite opaque enough.
It's probably the only guy in here. How did the... I don't know if it is
What's that?
a Mr. Tom Eves?
Tom Eves? That's Carol.
That's Carol.
That's Carol.
Oh, okay. Carol
Carol Eves.
Carol Eves. Oh,
Yes.
okay. She won the stamps.
My friend. Yay. My friend in Alberta. Carol, you've won your stamp set from Stampendous. This is that leafy holiday stamp set. I love this set. So, Carol, I have your shipping information, sweetie, so we will get that out to you. And I know I still have a couple of questions to answer for you as well, because I just haven't gotten to it today. So I will take care of that too. So I have my lettering painted in. I used my 0 rigger for that. I just wanted to make sure that these were nice and opaque. There we go. So once they're dry, I'm going to switch over to my liner. You can use a really small rigger. I have a 10-aught here that I think I will use for this. This is a 10-aught rigger. Now the color in my lettering is the same as the peppermint sticks and the holly berries and the pip berries around the outside of this frame, and this is watermelon slice. And so on the diagonal I paint in little bars like so. Just take your time doing it so that you get right to the edge of the letter. You might go over, but that's okay because you're going to put a little shadow of black in behind anyhow. So it's just always on the diagonal, and that includes the dot over the eye. And one coat will be sufficient. We just want to change the color, but it is always on the diagonal. I don't want these to be straight across. Then it looks like prison bars instead of candy canes.
I don't know if that is a facepalm emoji or a high five emoji. I can't tell from here. Or,
I don't know. I'm working on the emoji thing.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you get there. So it's just this simple little stripe. They don't have to be the same size. They don't even have to be all that accurate, because by the time we're done, nobody's going to notice them anyway. So there we go. And same thing on that C. And just keep them going on that diagonal, a bit of an angle, so that they don't look, like I said, too much like prison stripes. There we go. So we have our stripes on our cookie. I'm going to dry these real quick because we have to shade and highlight this.
You're not going to hit it with a glitter bomb, are you?
With what?
A glitter bomb?
No.
Should be back. Are we back? Are we back?
Should be back, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Eh?
So that little shadow
We're back.
goes on the
Sorry about that.
left side or the right side of that letter. And it's just a narrow little float. It doesn't even have to be perfect. It can just be a weak band of color. It's fine. And it's all on that one side on every letter all the way through. Sorry guys, we don't know what happened there.
Yeah,
It kind of, something crashed.
it was the creepy gingerbread again. It was darn ginger.
Darn ginger. So
It's funny because I'm a ginger.
he's a ginger, so.
So you're blaming me.
So I've got my shadow in. You can do this just on the bottom if you want to. You don't have to do every single letter. You can do it just across the bottom, if that, whatever blows your hair back. So I've got a little shadow in. So I also need to put a little highlight in. I'm going to repeat that on the other side. This is a narrow little space, so it's just going to be a narrow little float. It's just enough to change that. Put a little punch of white over top of that red, essentially. So I'm just putting this weak little float down the opposite side, like so, and it is very weak. Just like we did on this one here. So essentially you're repeating that process on the lettering. Like I said, don't fiddle with it too much. There we go.
Whoa.
See, you left for 2 seconds.
What happened? What did I do?
I don't know. What'd you do?
I don't know, but we dropped down.
There we go. So the final thing to do with that lettering is to shade in behind and to add a final punch of light to these the candy. And I'm going to do that with some thinned transparent or titanium white. I almost said translucent white.
Get rid of the zombie cookie.
So I'm just using my fine liner and I'm putting a bright highlight on each section of this letter, like so.
Okay. What is going on?
And so it takes on that shiny look. That's what we were looking for, is that sort of shiny appearance. And we're doing that with a fine line of the titanium white down the highlight side of the letter.
I gotta zoom out a bit.
Just like that. And so these candies take on a shiny look because of that bright highlight. Which is what we want. So there's our highlight. So now our candy has that nice shiny look. So we're going to add a couple more shadows just to separate a few things, and I'm doing that with a little bit of asphaltum. And that is just to drop that lettering back a little bit so that it separates and it pushes the other elements forward. It's amazing what that little shadow will do back there. And I'm going to do the same thing here on that mistletoe. I want to knock that back a little bit so that it's tucked in behind.
New goodies.
And then again, on this cookie, I'm going to put a float of that asphaltum right there because I want that cookie to be inside the teacup. I needs to be set back a little bit. So I'm using asphaltum to do just that. So that little float will set that back just a little bit. And then I need to put a highlight on the rim of that cup just to move it forward a little bit. And I'm going to do that with some thinned titanium white. And it is a very fine line. I don't want this too bright, and it's right on the edge of that teacup, right there.
Just to make that gold trim look really, really shiny.
Yep.
You almost missed it. Almost. We're coming to the very end.
And I want to deepen this shadow down here. Just a little underneath that mistletoe and underneath that holly. And again, I'm just deepening that with a little float of asphaltum. And there's always a few little places where you can tweak things a little bit, which I like to go around and touch up a few things here and there. Just
If you did a Halloween version, kind of like the Oleander tea one, I'd have like a little chip missing out of the...
yeah, make it look a little beat up.
Yeah. Little chip or crack in the teacup.
Yeah. So there it is, guys.
And zombie cookie.
And zombie cookie. So
Zombie cookie.
we got that one complete. So let's talk about this pink star. Now, this one is painted exactly the same way as the blue one. The only thing that really changes is the color scheme. Now, this one is based with bubblegum pink, and the shading color that I used is royal fuchsia. So it's quite a deep, dark pink. And the same process applies to the pink one as it does with the snowflake. So the shadows are all going to be on one side, and then you need that nice bright highlight so that you get that wet look, so you get that shiny frosted look. When it comes to doing those little candies that are on top of the cookie, they're painted exactly the same way as the berries on the mistletoe, except for one thing. On the right-hand side of each of those, you're going to put a float of that same pink that we used for the icing, which is that royal fuchsia. And so it's a C-stroke float, and it's only on one side, always on the right-hand side, the shadow side of it. And it gives you the illusion that they're just sort of sitting up on top of the frosting instead of being just sitting there. So,
Yeah, somebody asked, what other ideas are in the e-pack? It says additional pieces.
yes. So in the other one, we also have that gingerbread. And then we have the pattern for each of these as well, each of those tags.
Including zombie cookie.
Including zombie cookie. So, as you can
Christmassy.
tell, I'm actually going to continue and finish off the gingerbread one, and I am going to paint his eyes black in this one. We're going to
No,
avoid
you
the
should
zombie
make him
cookie.
Make them a zombie cookie.
So in that pattern, all three of those teacups are in there, as well as all three of those tags. So those are all in the pattern, plus the instructions for each separate cookie is in there as well. So I hope you enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun painting these. Painting this one.
Base cam. Boom.
Face cam.
Oh,
Zombie
wait.
cookie. And next Saturday,
Yeah.
next Saturday we're going to paint the lilacs. This is a fun piece to paint, and it'll finish out that series because I've done the. We haven't taught the gardenia yet either.
No, you haven't done gardenia yet.
Yeah.
So, got two more.
Yeah, we got two more. So next week it'll be the lilacs. And
Probably the week after that will be gardenia.
well, we'll see. I
see.
don't know what we're going to do, but
That's unless you come up with something like a zombie cookie.
like zombie cookies. Yeah, who knows? You'd never know what's going to happen around here. So,
Voodoo teddy bear.
that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining us again. We really enjoy, especially reading some of the messages you guys put up there. Some of them are really awesome
Zombie cookie.
and always entertaining. Zombie, yeah, we're gonna have to work on a zombie cookie, I think. Gotta find a fun
I like
surface.
the gingerbread man cookie. You just gotta keep.
Yeah, I like the gingerbread, but he doesn't look gingerbread. He looks like a zombie. Zombie.
Is he creepy?
You're a goof.
He's creepy looking.
He's having entirely too much fun with my mistake. So
It's just bad shadowing is all it is. Oh no, actually it's not even bad shadowing.
no, the shading's fine. It's just you.
It's just bad color choices.
I looked up at the monitor and I see this face sneaking in there. So Too
Great
much
lesson,
for
beautiful
TV.
pattern, fantastic staff.
oh
And
yeah.
an absolutely incredible teacher. That's Debbie Matthews. Thank you. Love the zombie cookie. Love it all. Thanks again for another awesome Saturday.
Oh, you guys are amazing. You guys make this a lot of fun. I really do appreciate you coming to watch. Sorry about the glitchiness earlier, the loss of the camera, but we managed to
think
get
that
it
was just-
rectified. I think battery just, we don't
Yeah.
usually go this
Oh, no,
long,
it's,
so
it's back up, but it's dead.
it's dead.
It's not going to be taking any pictures anytime soon.
No. So, all right, guys, that's it for this Saturday. Join me next Saturday live. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know when we're ready to go live and when we post new video. Hopefully, we'll have one up for you at some point this week as well. So that is it. Thank you for everything. You guys have been amazingly supportive, and we really do appreciate it. And we wouldn't be doing this without you. So you guys have a great weekend. Try to stay safe. I know everybody's getting their vaccinations and whatnot as it becomes available. So that's great. And we will see you here again next week.
Sheila is upset that she now has to work.
Oh,
Now I guess I have
wish
to
I
work.
could say I'm sorry, Sheila.
What did I win? Says Deb Antonik. Probably a phone call?
Yeah. I'll chat with my bestie a little later on. All right, guys.
She probably wants to see me unshaven.
I love you. Please stay safe, and we'll see you again soon.